Boom, and just like that, we're back. Life of the Party Africa edition. As always, I go by Congo P. I'll let my beautiful co-hosts introduce themselves.
I'm Joanna Posh.
Joanna.
And I'm BeeBee. Inspired by.
All right, ladies, let's go ahead and just dive into it. The most relevant topic right now is, I know you guys know about the whole ICE immigration thing.
Absolutely.
I guess just give everybody a couple of your thoughts about that. Maybe about just ICE and the famous people that have been getting caught up in it as well.
I don't even know what to say, but I feel bad for the people who are involved in it. But there's a good thing is happening so that people can be aware. I'm not a fan of it, but it's so that people can know that, you have to like take care of you too.
Get your paperwork straight.
Get your paperwork straight. Don't do like 21 Savage and stuff like that. Just it's the legal part of it, because we live here in America just chilling. Nobody comes and bother you, and come to find out there's a time where now things are becoming an issue. So it's important for all our African or people who are giving birth here or people who plan to stay here in the long run to think first about being legal in any country, because the same thing that is happening here in the US is happening in other countries in Africa.
Absolutely.
So I mean, I feel bad, but just stay strong.
Yeah,
stay
current
strong
on
and
your
stay
paperwork.
educated too.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people take the advantage that this is the free world. But when it comes down to, having your paperwork straight, like even myself, I know my uncle got deported. He spent 10 years back home before he can come back. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just real important for us to spread that message. Like, get your paperwork straight. It don't cost that much,
It really doesn't, because I definitely thought it cost a lot of money, and then I went and actually checked it out, and it wasn't that bad.
How was the process like? Tell us a little bit about it.
The process was not actually hard, because I guess I was raised here, so it was kind of easier for me to kind of maneuver and do all the paperwork.
Did they ask you like those questions too?
She did, and
it's
funny because I had an African lady as my interviewer, and she was like, "You have a better like dialect than I do." She's like, "How come you haven't become a citizen until now?" I said, "Well, my mom had a hard time passing the citizenship test, because of her language barrier, and so it just kind of, it was hard for me to become one right away. And then I ironically had renewed my green card on my 17th birthday, so that's good for 10 years, and that's like $600 and something. So I was like, why would I renew it now? I don't need to renew it. I'm fine, So I didn't really think I had to renew it until one day it became relevant once,
I've always wanted to know, like, what kind of questions do they ask you on the test? Because I remember when my mom was trying to become a citizen, she was like, Junior, who was the first president of America? Do they really ask you shit like that?
They really ask you stuff like that. They ask you how many stripes are on the flag, how many stars, what do they stand for?
Oh, you don't want to answer.
What do the stars stand for?
The name of the government.
Yeah, just really simple for us, because we've taken it in civics and history and whatnot. But like for somebody who came from Africa, who's learned a totally different history, it's harder for them to comprehend and answer those type of questions, because they're like, I'm not sure how many.
It's not a primary focus, because we're just trying to eat when we get here, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything that you wanted to add, Joanna?
And also, like, when you say it's easy, it's not easy for everybody, because there are a lot of people who come here as refugees. They have like third generation. They come as refugees, so maybe, and also they don't have access to certain resources. And you have people who just come here and overstay. Those are the people who have it the toughest, because then you have to.
You said like overstay their stay?
Or overstay their visa. So those are the people who have it the toughest, because then you have to figure out a way to change your status if you want to stay here and live here. So you see, you have some people who stay here like.
But how do y'all feel about ICE going around? They're really like going into people's businesses
and
houses. Like I was at the barbershop. I go to a Jamaican barbershop, and my barber was legit like, "Yo, I'm not gonna be here Monday, y'all, because they might show up. So y'all be easy." But how do y'all feel about that? Like they're legit taking people from their families.
I think that's horrible, in my opinion, because I feel like, how could you send me back when I've been here for so long? You should already you should grant me my citizenship based off of how long I've been here and how long I've paid taxes, because when you charge me my taxes on my on my payroll, you're not thinking whether I'm a citizen or not, are you?
Right.
No. So
Absolutely.
either way, I'm paying citizen taxes.
You're paying to be here.
You're right.
Yeah,
That's how
absolutely. I agree
feel.
with you.
So do we have somebody in the audience who want to chip
Anything
in?
that wanna
or
add,
want to
anything?
add? Or just...
My understanding was people that were being picked up, because I live in Texas, so we have a lot of various
Texas
in the
house.
immigration
Yes.
issues. There were people that had been, accused of crimes or actually convicted of crimes and told, hey, you have to leave the country, and they hadn't left. So it was like, okay, we're going to go out now and find you. And I would say to that, if you had been on the run or overstayed your visa per se for even 20 years, if I committed a crime and I was supposed to, if we're calling it a crime, right? If we're calling it a crime for overstaying your visa, and I hadn't been found out for 20 years, I still was being looked for that crime. So if it rounded up people that they're saying had stayed too long or had committed crimes and supposed to be sent back, you don't want to take nobody from their family. It's a tough situation. I'm not trying to defend nothing that's brutal or bad, but we live in a tough world, and sometimes the facts are
Especially when Donald Trump is our president.
Right. So.
And I understand when they send people back because they're felons or they've done things
totally.
bad in the society. But as far as people who are everyday, hard workers that are working hard to make a better living for their
Survive.
families,
Yeah.
like I don't feel like you should take them from their families and their community and just send them back because you
I
feel
saw
like they're
a dude was
illegal.
having dinner with his family. Everybody was just around the dinner table, regular day. ICE just came in there, yanked him up. The kids are crying, wife's crying.
I can imagine.
And there's no telling where they put him at. They just came, they got him, and that was it.
It's bad enough we already go through so much
But
stuff.
think
Like
about it too.
you
You know,
know?
they know where you are though.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one thing people don't understand.
The student
It's
loan
like,
people looking for me right now.
They have the FBI and stuff. They do like a lot of background work, even in insurance and stuff like that. They have people that they pay for it. So when they go, they have to go crack down. They have a list already. They know where you live.
Right.
You can't very hide, but
Sally Mae, I got your ass too, bitch.
But a lot of times, when we come from, a lot of times when we
you know,
come
50
from,
Cent got it now. So.
right, when we come from another country, usually it's because of circumstances. It's because something went on, either in asylum status or refugee status. It's a reason behind it. It's not because you just don't want to be where you're at anymore.
It's not by
because
choice.
you probably got ran out of your country because you would probably get killed if you're in your country. They don't think about situations like that and circumstances like, okay, you're sending these people back, but you're sending them back to get killed.
And I want
When
to
they're
add
okay
to,
here and they're helping society here.
and I wanted to add to that too, just like you said. Refugees come here, because there's an opportunity.
Better life.
It's a better life. Where in Africa where we come from, you're either rich or you're either poor. There's no in between. Right. So living in a lifestyle like that, we want to come here to America to be able to have opportunity, to be able to work, to be able to have a good livelihood for our family, and for them to try to crack down on us to, all refugees, even to try to crack on us to be able to have some type of population control and to try to control as far as the amount of people they want to have in the U.S. I think that's a big issue that we have going on today.
Mm-hmm.
So my position is a little different. I can preface my comments by saying that I have personal experiences with family member that's been taken back because of misdemeanor, going to the system, realizing they don't have the paper, and then ending 5 or 6 years in immigration, eventually being taken back and not be able to come back. But I think in everything, really, I look at accountability. And where we started the conversation that I think is the most important thing. There's a process in place that allow us to be citizens. Now, I was born here. My older sibling wasn't. My younger brother is. So each one of our processes is different. But we have to make sure that we don't become victim. And if we have the opportunity not to be a victim, and something happens, we have to take some level of accountability for that too. And I've always been a big proponent of not looking at what somebody else can do, but I do everything that I can do to be in the proper situation. You're looking at people like Slick Rick that gave 15, 20 years in the game and eventually gets caught up and then is supposed to get sent back. And obviously he's in a situation, the hip-hop community, and I don't know if anybody's aware of that, but he's in the hip-hop community was able to help him with that. Everybody's not in that situation. Like somebody like Sean that made his own mistake. Just because you came in as an immigrant doesn't mean that you're not going to make a mistake, right? And just because you make a mistake don't mean that you have to be sent back. The reason why you sent back is not because you made a mistake. The reason you sent back because you haven't taken care of the paperwork the way you should.
Absolutely.
Get your paperwork straight, guys.
Get your paperwork.
And I think that is more important than any message, because it has to be some level of infrastructure in terms of how people come in and out. And it's not perfect. But then again, is it ever really going to be perfect?
Right.
But the big got you is, did I do what I was supposed to do? And I think a lot of times that has to be the conversation has to be about, as part of either part of the diaspora or being born here and having education or being here for a long time. These conversations are important because there's people that's been here since 2 years old that don't know they can be taken away in like a matter of a second.
Yeah, and I think it's also like the parents, you know, when you're a parent and then you having children. Here in the US, for example, you can be illegal and have like 20 kids and still not have your papers. It's not like in Europe or France where you allow your kids can actually give you citizenship while they're young. But here you can actually, as a child, you can give paperwork like green card to your mom once you reach 18. But if you have like 20 kids and then they're all under like 15, you see, it's like, are you going to wait all that long? And some people actually waited and they got their paperwork. And now that we have like this administration going, it's like, it's shaky.
It's unstable.
But it's good to know that you have to do it. I mean, myself, I came here like as a student.
Let's get one more from the crowd too.
Well, the thing I was going to piggyback on what he was saying is that to be sure to educate yourselves on what you need to do and the proper steps of doing it, because people fail to realize that although it's a country, it's a company. When working for a company, if you screw up policy-wise, they do what? They terminate you. So they're looking for you to make a mistake so they can terminate you and send you back. So deporting is just another word for termination.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a really good point. I appreciate that.